Colette Williams. I'm an avid gardener. I enjoy backyard gardening, and I've been gardening for about 25 years. And right now, where we're at, this is my experimental garden. So I have a whole lot of different gardening styles that's going on in here. So my 25 years of gardening, I have had so many experiences in gardening. I've had the good, the bad, the ugly, you name it. I've experienced it all. When it comes to gardening, I have experienced things like coming outside and meeting the sun, just drying out all of my plants. I've had poor soil, so it didn't produce well. But I could tell you one thing when it comes to gardening. The more you do it, the more you will definitely learn. I believe the greatest teacher when it comes to gardening is in the doing. You can look at somebody garden and they can tell you what's going on in their garden, but there's nothing like when you experience it yourself. And gardening experience is definitely the greatest teacher. If you're thinking about getting into backyard farming, let me tell you, it is an awesome experience. I feel so proud when I walk into the grocery store, and for like about 9 months out of the year, I can walk straight past the produce section. We live in one of the best climates when it comes to growing a lot of fruits and vegetables. We're not like up north where they can't grow certain things. They have to wait until the ground defrosts and it's frozen, and we don't have to worry about none of that. However, in the summer it's a little bit more challenging for us because a lot of the things like the cabbage and the lettuce and what I call the winter crops, they don't grow so well. But once you learn about your crops, you will definitely be able to grow something year-round in our climate. Okay, we're not growing lettuce, we're not growing cabbage, we're not growing Swiss chard, kale, and all of those winter leafy greens stuff. Oh, what can we grow in the summer? Okra. You go to your watermelons, your pumpkins. They are the things that flourish in our climate during the summer. If you look here, I have some cords, and there are these little boxes going on here. This is square foot gardening. And this style of gardening allows you to have a very compact garden, and you can grow a ton of different vegetables in here. Like in here I have kale, there's some eggplant, sage, oregano, chives, there's a watermelon plant in here. And then when you learn about this style of gardening, what you definitely want to do is companion planting, because as we know, some plants just don't like other plants. They're pretty typical, and they're something like people. Just how we don't like everybody, some plants don't like every other plant. So this is, like I said, this is square foot gardening. I grow on trellis. That is another thing I always try to encourage people to do with their garden. One of the main things I would definitely encourage you when you have your garden, I left this out earlier, is you want to keep your garden as clean and as impeccable as possible. Dead leaves, you don't want those dropping, because when you have dead fruits drop, dead leaves, they're the things that attract pests to your garden. And when it comes to the winter, pests aren't so bad, but oh boy, here they come during the summer. So you definitely want to be on top of it during the summer. Me personally, I try not to use too many of the pesticides and insecticides, because I am not so much interested in the what's happening, the here and now when it comes to my food, and for lack of a better term right now. What I mean by that is that I'm very concerned about the health of my soil. And even though you have pesticides because you want to get rid of probably the aphids, the caterpillars, the leafhoppers, the sting bugs, the Japanese beetle, you have to understand those things don't only just affect the insect that you want to kill, because unfortunately the chemical doesn't know the difference, and it kills both your harmful insects as well as your beneficial insects. These are some lima beans. Oh man, listen. And with these, the more you pick, the more they produce. Because when you stop picking, it tells the plant that they're done doing what they need to do, and then they stop producing. It's a case of if you don't use it, you lose it. Let's see here. And there's tons, if you look in here, there's tons, and it just keep on going. And so you see here, and if you look here, it's all over there. It just takes over. But when you have beans and stuff, while you can let it sprawl all over the ground, and I try to encourage people not to let their vegetable or their produce sprawl on the ground, because I always say when you leave it on the ground, the insects think it is for them. So you want to use trellises as much as possible to keep your produce off of the ground. Oh, I didn't know I had all of these to pick. Wow, I just picked these 2 days ago. I just picked a bag of, no kidding, a bag of these, like a gallon-sized bag of these 2 days ago. See here? Even though some of these are not finished, I'm not finished harvesting these. These are my cantaloupes. I think I have a sign there. I'm not sure what variety it is. Okay, I have like about 3 different varieties when we go in different areas. These are beans. These are my yard-long beans. And I kid you not, in about 6 weeks, this will be all over this trellis. A very short time. It doesn't take a whole lot of time for them to grow. But when it comes to summer crop, peppers love the heat, especially the hot ones. But this is my sweet pepper bed, even though I have a couple other things like these are garlic. That's a tomatillo. Most people don't know what that is. And I know. Have you ever heard about ground cherries? Okay, it is very similar to a ground cherry. See, because if you open up in here, that's the fruit. And even though it's in the tomato family, it makes the best salsa. I use this in my salsa. We'll get some of these out of here today. You don't need to be in here. Garden here. As you can see, these are some of my onions that are bulbing up. They're coming up. See those? There are some beets in here. These are some lettuce that's finishing up. I know some people, they harvest the whole head of lettuce or the whole plant. I try to leave those because I use a lot of seeds, because seeds is the least expensive way when it comes to gardening. And if you have it, why would you throw it away then go back to the store and buy it? Doesn't make much sense to me. So I try to save as many seeds as possible. So in a little bit, these will be me I'll be harvesting these, because in here have my lettuce seed. These are so tiny. Yes, that's the lettuce seed. So I'll be out here harvesting these in a minute. You ever notice when you go to the food store, there's only like 2 or 3 different kinds of tomatoes you can choose from, and you don't even get as many colors. I am growing at the moment like about 7 different varieties of tomatoes. Yellow, purple, green. Even though it's ripe, it's still green. It's called a green envy. I have some of those. The aromas, I have different shapes, I have different sizes. so I have some that I just use for snacking, like over here. These are my favorite snackers. These ones here, these are called chocolate cherry tomatoes, and these are so flavorful. These are my breakfast, and that's probably why you don't see that many out here, because I've eaten them all already. These one, I prefer them when they're small. I don't like them when they get too big because they're not as tender. Fruits, oh yes! And the leaves are very good. I use the leaves in my smoothies, so I don't throw anything away. And the leaves that doesn't look so healthy, they don't get thrown away either, because they go in my compost. Oh boy, you have me loaded today. Hey, thank God for benches, right? And I think I saw a couple more over there I need to pull. Another thing about backyard gardening, flavor, flavor, flavor. If you ever taste a homegrown tomato versus a store-bought tomato, you'll probably be like myself. I don't eat tomatoes out of season. And I grow enough variety of tomatoes because, like, for example, my Roma tomatoes, I grow those, I freeze those, I can those, I make sauce out of those. So I have tomatoes pretty much year round. And in our climate, we might not be able to grow the big tomatoes during the summer, but the cherry tomatoes love the summer weather and they just flourish and they will go and go and go until you actually just cut them off. See here, these are seeds coming in here too. These are going to be seeds. These are chives, garlic chives. And not only the fact that they produce seeds, they also produce flowers that the pollinators love. You come out here in the morning and then here it's just flocked with bees. They just buzzing all over the place. Butterflies, as we talk, one just flew by. Oh boy, thank you, bee, for not making a liar out of me. Here, these are peas. These are finishing up. I'll be taking those out.